All right, so my thought is the first thing you do is you pick an opponent, and your opponent would probably be picked randomly. And the only thing that matters on your opponent is this little bit up here, what his mandatory dice are. And in this system, I think what we'd have is you basically roll all of the enemy's dice first, which sets up sort of the situation you try to then defeat. So characters would take, instead of 4 of each color, they would take 5 of whatever color they have up here. So they would take 5 blue, 5 red, and then 3 yellow and 3 green to get to the rest of their 16 dice. Then they would roll their dice. Blah, 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 roll on my dice. Okay. Now, this character can re-roll any blue or red dice that aren't books. So we keep all of our books that are blue and red. We keep that blue book. Now, I'm going to say that they re-roll gold. They do not re-roll special abilities. So these are all the blue and red that aren't books. So we re-roll those. We end up with that. And so then instead of placing these in a grid in any complicated way, I think we just sort of make columns of like-minded icons. We have 1 shield, 4 books, and then some special abilities over here. Alright, so this sets up the character you're trying to beat. Now how this would work for the actual player is they would take their normal turn, probably with the normal set of dice, although we might do the same thing and let their dice pool have 1 extra of those. Maybe a couple extra so they can still roll 4 and keep 2 on their last turn. And what we would do with special powers is we would essentially make them cancel each other out. So the red and yellow special powers are offensive. Red makes your opponent re-roll, and I think yellow moves them around. So I would basically say that the green ability, if I was going to use a green ability against this my opponent, it would cancel out one of their red abilities. So that would just count as used. If my opponent was going to, at the end, if my opponent has any red abilities left, they would fire off on my grid, and I could cancel them with any of my green abilities. Or I could let the green abilities actually just do their thing. Same thing with the yellow and blue. They could essentially cancel each other out. At the end, any abilities that were left here that were offensive would fire off, defensive would not, and the point scoring would be a little simpler because we wouldn't worry about where they are in the grid. We would just say, for instance, this book thing is a run of 5 and then a run of 4 blue. If somehow I had an extra red ability and I used it against this character and he couldn't stop me, I could make him re-roll this die, and then it turns into a blue special ability and it would go over there. At the end, we'd count up points for this character, and we'd count up how many points I scored on my side, and that's how we would sort of figure out the winner. And then if I wanted to sort of level up and fight a tougher guy, I would give this guy more dice to roll. Now I would not use his special ability, I would not use his other stuff that's on the table. I would just let the player use their stuff. Alright, let me see if this is too long to actually send to you.